Hey y'all, this is AL Take Madame, and this is the recap review for Put a Ring on It. So, this episode started out with Mike and Shay, and they wanted to know last time whether or not he was going to go out on a second date with Whitney. Her name is Whitney. I don't know why I kept hearing Winnie. I don't know if the way they were saying it was heavy tongue or what, but I told y'all before it was either Winnie or Whitney. I think they were saying Whitney, but he said yes to a second date with her. And they got into him texting her and how that was a boundary that he crossed and all of that. But yeah, he wants a second date with her. And so, of course, Shay was like, oh, well, I want a second date with Peyton. Now, anybody who has eyes knows that she's only saying yes to a second date with him because Michael said yes to a second date with Whitney. It is what it is. So anyway, moving right along. This week is about family, and they're going to go over various things specifically with people. But I think the biggest struggle is going to be Mike and Shay's relationship and Tamika and Vince's because of their lack of communication and trust. So yeah, this week only 3 people are going out on dates, and that's going to be Michael, Shay, and Ashley. So Shay and Mike are now back at the house. They talking, and he was just like, I don't think our visions are aligned because I definitely see my son Zion here with us living, pretty much full time, definitely more than the time she's ever spent with him. And she don't see it like that. And I'm just like, I don't understand why you don't understand that it is a package deal. I'm very confused because usually it's the other way around where the guys have to understand that the mom and their kids are a package deal. But with her case, like, I have never witnessed anybody in extreme denial like she is. And we're going to get into that later on. But y'all, I am done at this point. Like, I am tired. So anyway, in all honesty, I just feel like Shay is in love with the idea of being married and saying that she is somebody's wife and not necessarily understanding that there's a such thing as being married and being happily married. And if they were to get married, especially right now, it would be disastrous. It would be like, for what? He gonna be mad, he gonna be cheating, the most gonna be going on. It's like, for what? I don't see the point of them even being together in this moment. And I'm gonna talk a little bit more about that later on as well because I'm tired. When they get on the screen, I just get to the point where I'm like, especially when she starts talking. It's just so stupid to me. Like, I'm like, what is wrong with you? That's his child. You could tell that she is not here for him spending time with his child. And it's like, if you're going to be with him, you have to accept this. Why are you not accepting of this? I'm not understanding. Find you somebody who ain't got no kids if you're going to be like this. I'm not understanding why you're here. Anyway, so she has no connection. She has no connection to his child. And like, it's sad. Anyway, Mike and Whitney went on a date and the vibe was there again. And he told her, we can't be texting and all this other stuff. But he thoroughly enjoyed himself while on that date. And she, while they were on the date, she was like, oh, well, my favorite, holiday is coming up. Her favorite holiday is Halloween. And she said that she wants to dress up in this cat suit and have a whip and all this other stuff. So, of course, that turned him on because y'all see how he gets anytime. He was here for how she was looking when she came in the room. She had on like some denim outfit. He lived for that. And even the sweat that was dripping down and everything. He lived for every single moment of it. And I was just like, okay. But anyway, they had a really good time. And she was trying to figure out, well, if we do have a third date, how are we going to get in touch with one another? And he was kind of like, well, we'll figure it out. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, okay. So, I'm glad that he is accepting of the dates and actually dating and saying, oh, I like this person. I like this vibe. It's completely different from how things go with her. She's accepting of me having a child. And if, she were to be in a serious relationship with somebody, she would not sit up there and basically shun the child. So it is refreshing to see that. So essentially, it's like, I'm gonna need for them to not be. I'm trying to not go there yet, but I can't help it. It's just infuriating when Shay gets on the screen and is so dismissive when it comes to his child. I don't understand. But anyway, so Charles and Ashley went out on a date. They seemed to have a really good time. But before they went out on the date, he came by the house and he brought roses. He brought like a cute bouquet of roses to the house. And before she came out, she was getting dressed. So Hollywood answered the door and it was Charles. And he told him he had to put these booties on. They called them shoe covers at this job that I worked at. And you only had to wear those if you were wearing shoes that you'd worn outside or whatever. So I was like, okay, I get that. He had to put them on. He had on some cowboy boots. I was like, okay, look at ya. Look at ya. I don't think I could do it. I would have to find me some comfortable ones because everybody that I've asked, they told me that they had to go through a lot of cowboy shoes, a lot of those boots, a lot of those cowboy boots in order to find a pair that they broke in just right and now they're comfortable. So some of them be cute to me and I'd be like, nah, I can't let the full country girl come out as far as how you dress from head to toe because I can't get down with them shoes. They are so uncomfortable. Anyway, so he ended up bringing her flowers and you know how Hollywood get. He wasn't that bad this time. So I was like, okay, good. So they ended up going on a date. So they went to this place where they had to basically do potting of plants. And they had a nice little vibe. She said that she likes how he is attentive. And they were talking about kids and all that other stuff. Ashley, girl, what is your skin routine? I need it and I need it right now. I don't know if it's just genetics. I get so mad. I get mad when people are like, well, I don't do nothing but pour water on my face. What? Like this woman at work, her skin is everything. And I asked her, I was like, I'm sorry, I got to ask you about something. Ain't got nothing to do with work. What is your skin routine? And she was like, oh, well, thank you. I don't do nothing. Her face had been breaking out because she had washed it with like regular soaps and stuff that people recommend that you use on your face. And the dermatologist told her, you don't need to do all that. All you need to use is water. And that's what she does. And her skin is everything. I can't do that. My skin is too oily and it's too dry. I have combination raggedy skin. I can't do it. I have maskne really, really bad on this side. It is ridiculous. Y'all don't understand. Yesterday was a struggle. I washed my face and I got in my car. And when I got to work, I was so done. I looked at myself like, what is going on? Like, it was bad. But anyway, I'm so sick and tired of being sick and tired. But Ashley, what is your skin routine? Y'all, I'm sorry, I had a moment. Anyway, but they had a nice little vibe, Ashley and Charles. Tamika went home to visit her parents because she always envisioned herself having the type of relationship and marriage that her parents had. And they had been married for 40 years, so I fully understand that. My parents had been married 37, it'll be 38 in February, and I live for their relationship. And whenever I've gotten with people, I've looked for a lot of the qualities that my father possesses, and I try to kind of be like my mama in certain aspects, but I already know that you can't sit up there and expect somebody to be 100% like your daddy or like your mama or whoever that you're idolizing essentially and living for and you want to emulate. So she went and was talking to them and they wanted to know, what was going on. And she was like, well, Vince and I have been together for 2.5 years. And of course, they know about what happened in the beginning of the relationship. And her daddy let it be known that if y'all go down the road of marriage, he's going to have to come and talk to me first. Like, we're going to have to have a whole conversation, but, I'm good. I mean, whatever. It is what it is, but we're going to have a conversation. So I was like, oh, Lord, okay. And I get that, and I respect that. My daddy wouldn't be having it either if he knew about the situations that I had been in or whatever, and it was some foolishness like what she had been going through. Nah, you need to come see me and talk to me. I ain't got time. So Shay and Peyton are out on their date. And he is over here touching hands, and he telling her she has soft hands, and they holding hands, and they doing the absolute most. She said that she was turned on, excuse me, by him mentioning that he would have had a ring ready for her because he would know that he want to be with her. And I'm like, why are you turned on by these words? Because these words have not turned into action. And you don't know this man from Adam, but okay, you going off and living for that. Then she was talking about there is some kind of sexual energy and she wants to see him again and took it upon herself to ask for his phone number. So it's like you done went off in the one-on-one, the little group session with Dr. Nicole saying that Michael has crossed all these lines, boundaries have been crossed, but you sat up here and asked him for his number and trying to have it under the guise of just in case I want to get in contact with you to talk to you about a second date, I'll have your number. You crossed the boundaries. The boundaries have been crossed, so I don't understand what you thought you were accomplishing. And then like she's gonna get in her confessional like, well, yeah, I know I crossed boundaries, but you know, he did the same thing, so I'm sure he'll forgive me. And it's like, girl, just stop. So Tamika and Vince, they were brought up and they were kind of discussing things with Dr. Nicole in their session. And, you know, essentially it's like, yeah, he wants to marry her, but he already knows that she's not in the right headspace. Don't sit up here and say you want to be married and don't think he's going to ask you to marry him when he knows that you're not in the great headspace. You don't trust him and y'all don't have great communication at all. He already is like, okay, I feel like when she asks me, how am I doing? How's my day? That is her really saying, you know, what did you do today? Did you go out cheating? You know, she really be fishing for stuff instead of just coming out saying what it is. And Dr. Nicole said, if you have a question or you have a concern, you need to just voice it. Don't just sit up there, just let it fester and just go all around what you really want to ask. Ask what you really want to know. Because that's the problem. You don't have good communication skills. Come on now. So anyway, Mike and Shay. So while they were in the group setting, Shay had the audacity to say that Mike can do whatever he want to do with his son. You know, they can go get an Airbnb or whatever they gonna do. And everybody was confused. Like Ashley even was like, what you talking about? Like when he go out of town so that, you know, I guess, you know, just in case you don't think nothing going on with him and the baby mama. Like, what is you talking about? Oh no, this heifer talking about, you know, when he got a whole house, he has a whole apartment place or whatever with her. When the son comes to town, he can go get an Airbnb. Why is we spending extra money just for him to spend time with his son? If his son gonna be around, what are you talking about? And she legit was sitting up there talking about, oh, well, you know, he's not a part of me. I don't have any connection to him. And I feel like we could separate the two. Dr. Nicole was livid. Everybody is tired, looking like, what is we talking about? How you keep talking about every waking moment? You talking about, oh, I want to be married. I want him to marry me. I want him to marry me. But not acknowledging the fact that your man and his son are a package deal. You're not open to the idea of the son living there at all. Her main thing to holler is, oh, well, I feel like we're not going to be able to go out like we used to go out. And when he was here all the time. I'm just used to me and Michael being there. And okay, that's what children do. What you think the child gonna do? The child ain't finna just go outside every time you live, and then he just go outside from 7 a.m. until the lights come on to please you. Like, what is we talk? I'm not understanding. I'm not understanding. This is stupid. This is complete and utter stupidity to me. You got with this man after this child had already been conceived and had been in this world for 6 years. 6 years prior to you being in a relationship with him and knowing him. I'm not understanding why, like what happened? Is there a backstory that we need to know? Like, was he never around the child and then now he's all of a sudden in the child's life? Like, none of this is making sense to me. Like, you are very trifling or like something ain't right. I'm not understanding this. I'm just really not. I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to get loud, y'all. I just don't understand this. This is complete and utter stupidity to me. So anyway, but yeah, Dr. Nicole had to straight up ask her, who are you getting married to? And this heifer was like, him and I guess his son. She was like, ain't no I guess. Like, y'all, I'm tired. I'm so tired. Anyway, Ashley said that her date went well with Charles, and they discussed how everything went on when she got back to the house. So apparently Hollywood was a little snippy, and he was upset because he said that she normally comes and lay on his chest and all this other stuff, and they be bayed up, and she was like on a whole other side of the couch. She was like, I was eating, and I was like, oh, y'all, this is the stuff that real relationships are made of, like the most non the most non the most I forgot the word I wanted to use, y'all. I'm sorry. Things that aren't even that deep, people argue about. Like my parents would argue about the dumbest of things, and then 5 seconds later, they back like they never even had a little stupid argument. So I'm like, okay, y'all gonna be all right. So I was like, oh, okay. So now we get down to whether or not people are gonna go on second and third dates. So Michael, he was very excited about that whip and that cat suit old girl was talking about she was gonna wear. And every time he brought it up, they made a point to pan over to everybody to see everybody's reaction. I was like, stop. I was like, stop it. So anyway, they wanted to know whether or not they would go on second dates. But before they got to that, Shay was talking about, oh, well, I had to realize that I really enjoyed my date, and had I not been in a relationship, I probably would have kissed him. And so they doing the most. Shay talk about she not going on a third date, but they are waiting until next week to let us know whether or not he gonna go on a third date. I think he is, because they made a point to not show him. Now they showed everybody else in the next episode, but they made a point not to show him in that regard as to whether or not he was with somebody else, because we saw other people with new people and all that other stuff. Ashley said no to a second date because she felt like Charles was too calm. And like I said earlier, everybody already realized, including Michael, that Shay was sitting up there doing this tit for tat. And that's the only reason why she was like, yeah, I'll go on a second date. Yeah, I'm going to do this. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Because he said, yeah. And it's like, really go through with the process and not do this trying to get a reaction when you know that you're just only trying to get this reaction thinking that you're going to get something out of it in the end. You think that because you over here making these falsified types of emotions appear in him, you trying to make your own self think, okay, if I trigger him enough, he gonna do what I want him to do. Girl, bye. Anyway, y'all, that was a recap review for Put a Ring on It. I'll be back later on with some other stuff. Y'all have a good one. Bye.